I'm going to go over EURUSD because there have been a lot of technical moves involving support and resistance, and then support becoming resistance and resistance becoming support, and that generally will create pretty good trades and a good opportunity for entries and even exits. But specifically on Nadex, this is great. You can easily get contracts right where those levels are, or a little bit above, a little bit below, and make good returns off those. So the first thing we look for is a big move down or a big move up to look for resistance or support. And sometimes when you draw these levels, you might say this will be resistance, but then by the time you get to it, it doesn't act like resistance. So sometimes that happens, and then generally, let's say you break through that level and it closes above that level, that should become support. So when you come back down and test it, you will be able to make money off of saying it will go higher. So let's go over the first level that we have, which would be, oops, there we go. You could put that here, and then we're actually going to make this color red because we're making it resistance. I like to think of it as resistance is down, red is down, support is up, and up is green. So that's kind of how I would train my eye if you're new or haven't done this a lot. It's a good way to kind of train your eye to see it. And then as we move down here, we keep falling. We finally go a little bit higher. Again, we go a little bit higher. But right in this area, it isn't very big looking compared to this move down. But generally, this is a pretty decent move down with these three red candles. And then this one candle shoots right back up. So I would like to draw that level as well. And remember, we're going to make this red for the time being because it is supposed to be resistance on that first test. So as of now, this is kind of what we've seen so far. We had this big move down, then we finally started going higher. Three red candles here that were pretty decent in size. Went from 1410s down to 1350s, so that's a pretty decent move. And then this one candle alone shot almost that exact distance higher. So I had this as resistance and now this as support green. We come back up and we treat it like resistance. We actually fall a bit. Sometimes it'll rip right through and this won't be resistance, but for this case it will test that level and drop. And then we break above it. More importantly, we get closes above the level. Okay? And when we come back down to test that, because we got closes above the level and we broke above the level, I'm going to make this green and say that we're going to bounce higher off this and become support. And we test that level and go higher right into the previous resistance that we drew over here. Okay, didn't quite touch it but got very close and we dip lower. And then we break higher with this candle right here. And then because we broke above and again got numerous closes above, we're going to make this level green. We test that area right here and we end up going higher. Now we end up breaking below it. We get a few closes below that level, and again we can mark this red because now it is acting as resistance. We broke above, got closes above, bounced off of it as support, but then we had a big candle here, break lower. You can even mark this area for the future if you wanted to as resistance. This is a pretty decent move down, but we came down, got some closes below it, tested it, dropped, and then we stayed below that area. Now, looking right here, we had pretty big move higher off of these two candles, and because of the way we were kind of consolidating with a few candles here, you could even mark this level at this point instead of down here, because these three candles are kind of just consolidated there. And as you see, we came down, stayed in this boxed area for a little bit, bounced off of it, bounced off of it. This is acting as support because we went higher, and then we came back down and tested these levels. Again, we test that resistance and we drop. Now look, we break below pretty heavily, and we have closes below that level. Let's make this red, because this is now going to act as resistance. And we come right back up and fall. And notice how we got higher there. This candle right here tested this green level, this support level that we had from back, from right here. When this was actually resistance, we stayed under it, then we broke above, got closes above, bounced off, this became support, and it went higher. Then here, we bounced off of this area, went to the prior resistance level, and fell again. Now that we broke below and got a few closes below this level, this is now resistance. We can make this red and say that we're going to fall from this area. And look at that, we test it and fall, test it and fall, test it and fall, get close to it, fall lower again. Then we finally come down and test the most recent level in terms of the level that we hit. This was from a while ago, but in terms of the ones that we hit most recently, this one was just hit on Friday. And that's from this green bar of good range to the upside. So we have that level there marked as green as support, and we get that first test right there after falling from resistance, and we bounced off pretty well. We came back down to retest that level, bounced up again. Now notice here, we broke below, we broke below, we broke below, but we never got full closes below that level. So this is still support. We're still going higher off of it. When you look at the other levels, this one, yeah, it was support, we came back up, then we broke through, and then we got a full close under the level, full close under the level, a full close under the level. We retested it and then fell lower. So here we got part of the candle under, 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 but nothing fully under. So this is still a support level. When we break below and start closing below this area, then we can mark this red as resistance, but until then, this level is support. And that right there is what I wanted to go over, just how as simple as support and resistance is, you could have had a few good trades on Nadex using these levels as your entries, and even possibly your exits. So I hope this helps, and good luck with all your trading.